I call this August 2nd meeting of the Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission to order and ask that you stand with us as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Summer, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Benberry, Commissioner Bradford,
Here.
Commissioner Morrison,
Here.
Commissioner Pollard,
Here.
Commissioner Schramke,
Here.
Commissioner Wade,
Here.
Chair Crecilius.
Here. Mr. Morrison, you have a minutes motion, please.
Yes, ma'am. I move that the reading of the minutes for July 8th, 2021 be waived and that the minutes of said meeting as prepared by staff be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Wade. Are there any corrections, additions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard,
Aye.
Commissioner Schramke,
Aye.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye. We have some kind of in-house business tonight, and our first item of business is a zoning text amendment. Ms. Schramke, you have that, please.
I do. I move that this commission adopt a resolution recommending to the Board of Commissioners that case TXT 2021-0039 pertaining to the text amendment of section 126-68 conditional uses of the Paducah zoning ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Second by Pollard and Morrison.
This text amendment came out of the training on July 8th where the Director of Planning, Mr. Hutchison, addressed it at the last meeting in order to streamline conditional uses and as allowed by state law for them just to go to the Board of Adjustment. So this text amendment does that, and plus it cleans up a little bit of the verbiage within this text to make it more readable and flow a little bit better.
Have you all let the Board of Adjustment know about this change yet?
Not yet.
Just waiting for us to vote on this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There we are.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? I know that it pretty much spells out exactly how the procedure works for approval.
Right.
It doesn't really spell out, which I know is in another section, redress if in fact you're denied by the Board of Adjustment.
Mhm.
But that's not changing. That's
Right.
pretty much staying the same, so,
And the KRS allows for that to go to circuit courts.
right.
So in case anybody wasn't part of that conversation, basically found out at the hearing that we're one of the only cities or planning commissions that do it the way we're doing it, where
Right.
it goes to us instead of the Board of Adjustment first. And so I'm personally glad that we're making this change
Me
so that we
too.
get rid of some bureaucracy and.
Well, it makes it so much faster for the applicant,
Right,
too.
right.
Yeah.
Streamline the
You get
procedure.
immediate, rather than waiting 2 or 3 weeks coming to us before
Yeah.
it has to go to them. So yes, it's much better.
Thanks for getting it done, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Schramke,
Aye.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye. Our next item of business is bylaw change. Mr. Wade, do you have that?
I move that this commission adopt the changes as revised in Article 4, Meetings, and Article 6, Transaction of Business in the Paducah Planning Commission bylaws.
Second.
Second by Schramke and Pollard.
These are the changes that was introduced last time to move the meetings to the first Monday of the month. Excuse me. And also for tabled petitions to roll off the agenda automatically unless they request in writing to you all to extend that.
Well, and I'm glad that you put a deadline on that as well, that we can only grant it for them for another 90 days.
Yep.
I'm guessing at a time, or is it not to exceed an additional 90 days?
Right, for a total of another
Right.
90. But just to point out that if this is approved, that we will have a meeting on the 16th. appreciate that.
It's all right. Are there any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard,
Aye.
Commissioner Shramky,
Aye.
Chair Crecilius.
Aye. And our final item of business is again a bylaws change. It's a definition of secretary, and Mr. Bradford, you have this item of business, please.
I move that this commission adopt the proposed change as revised in Article 2 of the Paducah Planning Commission bylaws. Said change will be voted on and will take effect at the next regular or called meeting pursuant to Article 8 of the bylaws.
Second.
Second by Pollard.
This was another change that we had heard about on July the 8th from David Pike about staff being able to approve plats. In order to do that, according to Dan Key, what we need to do is define a secretary, because what the actual KRS says, the commission may delegate to its secretary or any other officer or employee the power to approve plats in accordance with the commission's adopted requirements, but all plats, preliminary and final, shall be approved or disapproved within 90 days. Within the bylaws, there's not a designated secretary. So, working with Dan, we just simply put that line in there for Director of Planning or designee, which would be me.
Which would be you.
That's correct.
Hey, you need something more to do. Slow time.
Again, this simplifies the whole process and
Yes.
speeds it up for the
It does.
applicant.
My only question, Josh, is, number one, there are no duties defined, whether or not that has to happen or not. But then right below there, Section 1 of Article 3, nomination of officers. Well, we've just surpassed that by saying we're filling that secretary position. We're making it an officer, but it's also being filled automatically. And I'm not sure that's,
Do we have
Kosher.
a secretary on the planning commission?
I think we're just designating the secretary to be the,
Staff?
exactly.
Well, the Article 2 calls for election of chair and vice chair, not of a secretary.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. There's typically, secretary is one of the officers on any board of directors. I think here maybe it's just the fact that we're calling it a secretary that sounds confusing, because it's not an officer of this board.
Not really.
It's just a designee called a
Right.
secretary.
Right. And actually, we're calling it a secretary because that's what the state
Yeah.
calls it.
The statute says, but I mean, I can move that definition to another section.
well, you're wanting the secretary to be an officer and conduct official business for,
The planning commission, correct?
so then it becomes a
Correct.
little rough to me when you say nomination of officers shall be made from the citizens member of the annual organization. You know, it's nothing for us to go ahead and say, oh, and here's who we're going to nominate for the secretary position, but I just see this not being as smooth.
So
Well, but if we
It
do
should-
that, then
I would-
we have to allow anyone to nominate anyone. for the
That's
secretary.
correct.
And that
And we don't
brings it
want
back
that.
And that's not
around,
what we're
so
looking
So-
for.
But,
it's just a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, let me,
so I think Article 3, number 1 just needs to be defined like Article 2, number 1. Am I maybe on the right track there? Because it only
Would be.
says the officers shall consist of chairman and vice chairman. So maybe if we just move that definition, would that
Into-
alleviate?
into section 1,
No, Article 2, Section 1, it
okay,
defines what our officers are
right?
of a chairman and vice chairman. So nominations of officers would be that definition. Just a chairman and a vice chairman.
Correct.
Am I,
I think you're right.
I see that as a possible
But-
solution, but I kind of think we ought to kick it back to Dan Key since it came from him.
okay.
So
Okay.
Does this mean we need to table this motion tonight if we need an opinion from our legal counsel?
We can't, yes, we can definitely table it. Since it's introduced tonight, we can still vote on it at the next meeting. So we can certainly do that, but yes, I can get clarification from Dan between now and then.
Move to table.
Also ask him to look at it
Second.
and give us his thoughts on
Hang on just a second.
if the secretary has other duties mentioned in the statute. I'm not familiar enough with that part of the statute. Surely that's not the only place the secretary is mentioned.
Okay. And who seconded the
We
table
have a motion
motion?
to table from Mr. Wade and a second from Mr. Morrison.
Let me clarify, I'm moving to table till the next meeting.
You,
Second.
I was going to say, let's say a date certain and make it August the 16th. How about that?
August 16th.
I think you can get some input by then, don't you think?
Got it.
Okay, great. So now we're voting on the motion to table.
Mhm.
Any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wade,
Aye.
Commissioner Bradford,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Pollard,
Aye.
Commissioner Shramky,
Aye.
Chair Casillas.
Aye. If there is no other business to come before the commission tonight, we stand adjourned at 5:41.